Michael, you've described this as a nanny plant, a gift from the Poms, someone said. What's wrong here? It's a soft green, gentle plant.
Right,
Tell us.
Yeah, what we're looking at here is blue periwinkle, Vinca major. It's quite a robust plant, quite a environmentally damaging plant. It tends to swamp out vegetation. It's something that has a beautiful, large, purplish blue flower at the right time of the year. Unfortunately, it's not flowering at the moment, and is attractive to gardeners. There are forms of this still available for sale in large department stores around Melbourne. However, this particular form here certainly acts more of a weed than the ones that you can purchase.
Oh, okay.
Essentially, it's something that grows from stolons, so it produces these above ground stems that root at the node and become a new plant, and it will grow usually in semi-shaded situations. So we're talking about woodlands and wooded areas below trees. It tends not to grow out in the open too much. It tends to be a little bit frost sensitive, although it doesn't tend to kill it, it just knocks it back a little bit at times. It doesn't really pose any sort of habitat value, so nothing really eats it, nothing really lives in it. It just basically is the result of people enjoying their gardens too much and putting in things that are far too vigorous and escaping. The site that we're standing on right at the moment used to be an area around buildings, so this no doubt was part of the original gardens around those buildings and is a remnant of that, and unfortunately it's now in a bushland area and posing an environmental issue. In terms of control, it's very difficult to control just by the nature of its growth. So most plants that produce stolons and grow from above ground stems and root at the nodes tend to move into native vegetation, and they're very difficult to remove because it's hard if you're using herbicide to spray the whole plant without affecting all the other things around it. And essentially this plant has got a huge resource below the ground. So it's full of roots all the way. You know, this is one plant. We can see it probably goes for, maybe 10 metres that way and maybe 4 metres or 5 metres that way. It'll all be one plant. So to eradicate this by herbicide is almost impossible. To hand weed it is almost impossible. And once it gets into this stage, it's very difficult. So it's really important. So these new emerging weeds along the creeks, that we're looking out for small infestations of these, up and coming infestations of these things, and nip them in the bud, so to speak. So we need to remove them at that seedling stage or that first establishment stage before they get to this level, because really all we can do here, similar to the pampas lily of the valley, which we've already discussed, is to use a solarization technique where we swamp and remove all light and cook the plants, and to the exclusion of everything else as well in the situation, and then recolonise with natives. So, yeah.
It's such a pleasant and inoffensive looking plant and so small, it could be very easy for lay people to miss, couldn't it? So it's good that we've taken the moment to look at it and recognise how difficult it could be.
Yeah, it can be very, very difficult to notice if it's not in flower. When it's flowering, it's a whole different story. The flowers are really large, really showy and really blue, and we will get a photo up for people to look at so that they can identify the plant from the flower when it's flowering, but it's also important to be able to identify it when it's not flowering. The other problem with these plants is, or this plant in particular, is it has this waxy cuticle over the top of the leaves. That actually prevents herbicide attaching to the leaf, and it just beads off. So, they require wetting agents and other additional things to effectively be controlled. So, yeah.